YouTube. Pipe Lawyer here, coming to you once again from the Manctuary. And it is time to do a movie review over a pipe. Yes, and this evening's movie review will be of Taken 2, the sequel to the original Taken movie. And it once again stars Liam Neeson and Famke Janssen in it. And before I get into the merits of the review, the housekeeping. I'm smoking a Boswell pipe, a beautiful spiral-shanked and spiral-stemmed apple-shaped pipe, which I picked up at the Boswell's pipe shop in Chambersburg in the summer of 2009. Smooth all around, with spot rustication on the inner half or back half of the bowl here, and also some gentle rustication on the rim. And again, I guess a hand-swirled or hand-spiraled or carved shank that flows seamlessly into a spiral-shanked black vulcanite stem as well. And in it, I'm enjoying some more of my Dunhill 965. I'm really digging this blend. And I will be discussing Taken 2. Now, before you go see Taken 2, if it's still in theaters, if it's still in its first run, or before, when it comes out on DVD or on Comcast on demand, I highly urge you to see Taken 1. So that way, while Taken 2 is a wonderful action movie in and of itself, you get a better understanding of the context and the circumstance which brought about its existence by seeing Part 1. Now, Taken, the original, stars Liam Neeson as a former CIA operative, presumably dealing in black ops and what have you, who is a divorced father, who is no longer with the agency but is now living his life as a divorced father, and whose daughter is in the primary custody of his ex-wife, played by Famke Janssen, who has since gone on and remarried or what have you, and is now living in a life of wealth and privilege, and is raising her daughter in that environment while Liam Neeson's character tends to eke out a living doing various special projects and assignments. Well, anyway, in Taken 1, Liam Neeson's character, Brian Mills, his daughter goes on a trip to Europe to presumably go see U2 in concert in Ireland, but really is going to Paris with a girlfriend of hers just to sightsee and go on vacation and have a great time. And while Liam Neeson's character is against this, he doesn't have that much to say in the matter because his ex-wife has custody of their daughter. So off she goes with her girlfriend. They land in Paris, and one thing leads to another. And Liam Neeson's daughter and her girlfriend are taken. They are abducted by a bunch of miscreants who are engaged in the European sex trade, wherein young girls of other countries who arrive to tour and visit certain parts of Europe are kidnapped and sold into the sex trade as sex slaves and trafficked, essentially, to various regions throughout the world. This happens, and when it does happen, Brian Mills sets off to employ a particular set of skills which make him a nightmare for people like the ones who took his daughter. And in so doing, Liam Neeson tracks down the people who took his daughter, exacts his wrath and his revenge upon them, and in the process reestablishes a loving bond between him and his estranged daughter, and even with his ex-wife. Which brings us then to Taken 2. Taken 2 picks up immediately where Taken 1 left off. Only this time, the premise is a very simple one. The father of one of the henchmen that abducted Liam Neeson's daughter in the first movie seeks revenge against Liam Neeson for his son's death. And turns out that he has control over I guess like a cartel or a mob type of an organization that can do these kind of things. Well, Liam Neeson's character is once again in Europe. I think he's in Istanbul on special assignment, and his ex-wife is having trouble with her new husband or her new boyfriend or whatever. So he invites his ex-wife and his daughter to join him, if they so wish, in Istanbul. Well, he completes his assignment and gets on the phone, seeing if they've chosen to come, and they surprise him by showing up. And it just so happens to be in Istanbul, right where the first killings took place. Well, suffice it to say that the father of the henchman, whose death he's seeking to avenge, catches up with Liam Neeson's character and his family, and from there on, the abductions start again. Although with slightly varied circumstances, which if you see the movie, I think you'll truly appreciate. Let's just say that certain particular skills have been acquired from the first movie by the daughter. But it's a very, very good movie in and of its own right. And not only is it a good movie in its own right, but it is a very, very good sequel. And that's important because most times, as we all know, sequels rarely ever measure up to the quality of the original movie from which they stem. Now, that also can be said about Taken 2. But let me qualify that assessment. Whereas most sequels are just made to have bigger, better, louder effects, explosions, gunfights, car chases, what have you. And they fail by a very wide margin to equal the original. Taken 2 falls short, but by a very, very small margin, because contrary to what most people may think of Taken, it's not an American film. Taken, as I understand it, according to my research, was a French-made film, but that was made in English. And I don't know why the studios did that, but whatever the formula was that they employed, it worked. And it worked very well in the first movie, and subsequently also with the second movie, where it may not have been equally as good as the first, but, I mean, it's right there. And that's why I consider Taken 2 to be a very, very worthy sequel to the original Taken. It is a stylish, or a very stylishly made European movie. It's got European flair about it. The dialogue and the interaction between the characters, I can't really encompass it. It's just it's got a European feel about it. It's just very. It's almost exotic, you know. The term that keeps coming to my mind is very stylish. It's a very stylish action movie, which, like I said, unlike the the typical Schwarzenegger or Rambo kind of films, which just have big muscles and good guys with their shirts off and muscles rippling and martial arts fights and car chases, what have you. This is a very nuanced approach to action, especially since Liam Neeson is not usually considered to be an action star. It's not a genre that he usually involves himself in. He tends to be more of a serious kind of actor. But lately he's had some great success in action films like Taken and uh, The A-Team, and it shows another side of him, which I think makes him being the protagonist to be that much more appealing. And I say that Taken is very stylish of an action movie, much in the same vein as, say, the Jason Bourne films, or a very well-made Bond film, like with Daniel Craig. Like, that's more of a character-driven piece, dealing with interactions of well-developed characters within the film, rather than just a mindless series of explosions and special effects, what have you. So I highly recommend seeing Taken 2. It is a very, very worthy sequel. While maybe not as good as the first one, it is, like I said, right there with it. So I highly recommend Taken 2. Go see Taken 1 first to get a better understanding of Taken 2. And go see it, or rent it, or buy it. So that about does it for Taken 2. That's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned, because in my next video I'll be reviewing yet another movie which I recently had the pleasure of seeing, and that movie is Skyfall. So until next time, this is Pipe Lawyer saying cheers, and as always, remember, I'll present the evidence, but you be the judge. And if you don't be the judge, I will find you.